DeWitt Gilmore is kind enough to join me now here live for this exclusive interview. DeWitt, it's good of you to be here. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. First, take me back and tell me, what was your relationship back then with, well, I guess it was Puff Daddy back then. What was the relationship?
Well, Andre Harrell introduced me to him. Andre was an entertainer. Andre was a rapper. And I hired Andre on numerous occasions. And we were at a bar at a friend's nightclub, and Puffy comes up, and Andre says, "Hey, this is Puffy, my intern." And we have a lot of mutual friends. He's from Mount Vernon. I'm from Mount Vernon. And so we struck up some deals to do some parties, and specifically a basketball game, which everybody heard about, known as CCNY. Well, fortunately for me, he took that idea and went off on his own and did it, and we all know what happened because that's become part of his history, where people were stampeded and so on and so forth. So yeah, that was our relationship. You know, it was parties, and he was trying to come into my parties, my events in Westchester, my nightclub events, and so yeah, that was.
It's bizarre hearing about P. Diddy as an intern, but I mean, these were the days. So go back to the incident, 1996, the night in question, as you're alleging, and tell me what happened.
So me and one of my interns and my security, I had a magazine at the time, as you showed, and we were heading through town to go downtown to pick up money at different clubs, restaurants, businesses that advertised in my publication. And one spot that we stopped at, they were giving out T-shirts, and I think it's important to mention this. They were giving out Death Row East T-shirts. They were trying to promote the forthcoming Death Row East record label and trying to unify the coasts. And so I threw the T-shirt on. I wasn't involved in the East Coast, West Coast thing, but I was wanting to support. And so we got down to a club called Downtime in downtown Manhattan, not far from Herald Square. And we go in. There's a line of people to get in the club. We go past the line. We go inside. It's a packed club. And when we came out of the club, it was when the streets were an hour later, the streets were mobbed. So there was a big party going on outside because they could not get in the club. We go across the street to where my car was parked. And I'm in the driver's seat. I had an Isuzu Trooper stick shift. Lance, who was my security, gets in the passenger seat, and my intern is in the back seat. And Puffy comes up beside my vehicle. He obviously saw me, saw the Death Row East T-shirt, and he pulled up beside me. He's in the passenger seat, and his bodyguard is the one driving. And so he took his bodyguard's instruction, and they pull up next to me, and basically he goes, "What's up?" And so really quickly I say, "Puff, like, keep your drama to yourself. I don't want nothing to do with whatever you got going on, man. We know your trouble, whatever." Nah, you. And so they let me out of the parking space, Ash, and we pulled out, assuming that that was as far as it was going to go. But that's not as far as it went. Lance says, "You know, he's following you." And I didn't think of it as a threat. Next thing you know, we're in front of Herald Square. It's about 1 in the morning, and his bodyguard pulls his sports car and runs me off the road. So now I'm on an island, the trooper, and we get out of the vehicle. Lance gets out of the vehicle, but that's the moment we realized he was not alone. It was not just Puffy and bodyguard. There were 4 other cars. They were loaded with guys. The next thing I hear is pop, pop, and then Lance says, "Gun, gun," and it's all going down at the same time. And for the life of me, how I got teleported out of that situation, I don't know. But I jump back in my truck. Lance jumps back in the truck. I jump over the island. Now it's a hasty car chase. I'm on sidewalks. I'm going down one ways. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. There's not a lot of traffic, but the traffic that was there, I was able to basically escape this guy and his goons. That's what happened that night.
It's an incredible account, and it's very detailed as well. So I'm assuming that you've included all of these details in the lawsuit. The only question I have for you, DeWitt, is that the statute of limitations on assault is usually about a year. How are you going to get past the fact that this is decades now?
Well, the way to bring a case into court past the statute of limitations, if you're not SA'd, sexually assaulted with the New York state laws, is new evidence. And as of recent, a few months ago, I'm in touch with, there were 2 people with me in the truck, by the way, and I have not had contact with them. But recently I was in touch with Lance Calfee. Lance Calfee was my security in the truck at the time. And so we've all been intimidated, quite frankly, by Puffy and his money, you know, and his name changes and all of his goons and security and his fan base. And so 2 things. Number 1, I got back in touch with Lance. He gave full testimony to the event that night. He's never given full testimony. Number 2, as I said, not just me, but many people have been intimidated by this guy's power and influence and his money, and not for nothing, but he could wipe me out in no time, you know, with that much power. So I was afraid, to be honest with you. But ever since he's been locked up now, now we have the federal government on our side. We feel protected. We're no longer afraid. And I speak for all the victims, whether it's Cassie or Natanya Rubin or who got shot in the face by him or any of Diddy's victims. I'm here to speak out for them. So in terms of not coming forth, I just feel safe now to come forth and tell my story. And that's really what it is, just standing on my truth.
Well, DeWitt, I'm really appreciative that you came on to talk to us exclusively about this. I hope you keep us posted on the status of the case. Will you do that?
Yes, and Ashley, not for nothing, but, you know, there are a lot of people at his parties. And some of the most influential people that we've seen on tape have been Kim Kardashian, have been Al Sharpton, have been T.D. Jakes. All of those people, including Ellen, have all been quiet. It's quiet, even since Cassie's beatdown. But they're not speaking out now. They're not speaking out when, I mean, she was beaten up on CNN, for God's sakes. They're not speaking up. Everybody's hush. We have to decide if we're going to choose evil side, or the good or the evil side. And for me, there's only the good side. So make up your minds, guys. Make up your minds. What are you going to do? You're going to stay quiet or you're going to speak up? This guy is a menace to society.
Well, DeWitt, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people who will speak up. Certainly there will be subpoenas with the cases as far-reaching as this one. Thank you for doing this tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for blessing us, the veterans. I'm also a former Marine, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're never a former Marine. You're a Marine, and Semper Fi, my friend, and thank you so much for your service.
Always a Marine.
By the way, let me
Semper
give a
Fi.
plug
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
book as well. Always a Marine. You can find more of DeWitt's account in his memoir. I told you, he's penned over 100 books. The Night Puff Tried to Kill Me. DeWitt Gilmore joining us exclusively.